Alright, looks like I'm live. Oh, do I have buffering?
Yeah.
Stream's bitrate is lower than recommended.
Are you wired?
Yep.
Hmm.
I tested this today and I made a full 30-minute video
Weird.
without buffering live. Alright. Is it still having buffering issues?
Yeah, the frame rate's really low. Seems like the audio is working fine though.
Okay.
We might be able to just push through
Alright.
since it's a slideshow.
Yeah. Alright. Hopefully you can all hear me. Maybe not see me very well. All 7 of you currently watching live. Watching live. And if you are watching this, go ahead and sign in when you get a chance. Give you some time for that. All right. You say my audio is coming through on live?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and keep going. Is that the plan?
Yeah. If
Okay.
you're I'd record an OBS if you can too.
Yeah, I am. Maybe
Alright.
we'll post that one.
Yeah, just in case.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and begin. No announcements. So today I'm going to be talking about Nmap, and this talk is intelligence gathering with Nmap. I am Matt, and my handle on Discord is a partridge in a pear tree. And you're gonna have to bear with me if it looks like I'm looking at weird angles because my setup and talking over here and not over here, so sorry about that in advance. So let's get into it. We're gonna have about 13 slides, and then I'll do a small demonstration. And my goal for the talk is afterwards for you to download Nmap if you have not already and start playing with Nmap. So let's get started here. What is Nmap? Nmap is a free and open source command line tool used for security auditing and network discovery. Nmap is short for Network Mapper. and that's what it does. It maps out a network. Here it sends raw IP packets to system ports to identify the hosts that are available and what services the hosts may be offering. So that's really key here with Nmap, is that it finds open ports and it finds out what's happening on those open ports, what services are running, and that's where the real magic happens. Nmap is available for most operating systems: Windows, Linux, Mac, FreeBSD. All run Nmap. Nmap can be used to scan one machine across the internet or thousands of machines on the local network and everything in between. So what that means is Nmap is just really scalable. You can use it on one machine across the internet, or you can use it on 10, 20, 100,000, 100,000 on a local network. Yeah, just really scalable. And kind of a fun little fact, Nmap was actually featured in The Matrix Reloaded, Die Hard 4, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and The Bourne Ultimatum. So if you've seen any of those movies, you might have heard about Nmap. Okay, why use Nmap? Nmap can help you be more aware of the devices and services running on your home network. So I like to do scans on my home network routinely of the whole subnet, just to see if anything new has popped up on my network that shouldn't be there, and just to gain some familiarity with the devices on my network. And if you have a service running and it's not working, like I would want to run an Nmap scan on that machine and see if the port is open that service needs open, and if it's not, you have a problem there. It helps you learn networking concepts like what services various ports are used for and network addressing. So, like I just said, gain more familiarity with your network, and in doing so, you're going to be scanning ports and just learning more about networking in general. Most importantly, Nmap can be used to find vulnerabilities in one or more systems, a hacking necessity. So the coolest part, in my opinion, of using Nmap is using it to scan for vulnerabilities on your systems or any system. So running this scan on your home network, you can actually find any vulnerabilities that maybe, say, a hacker or somebody would also be able to find if they were on your internal network, or if you or a hacker would want to find an exploit, they would have to use something like this to find the exploit and then explore further as to how to take advantage of that exploit. Ports and services. So if you're not super proficient with networking, and you're not very familiar with ports and services, that's okay. This will actually help you gain proficiency in those areas. So a port is a virtual number, like an IP address, that specifies the start and end point of a particular service or process. So just like an IP address is a particular way is an address to find a location as to where a particular machine is, a port number is then used to find out the particular port that the service is run on. So it's just a further address, a deeper level of addressing, in a way, is how I like to think of it. Ports 1 through 65,535 are available, and some of those ports are fixed. So some of the port numbers are they do not change. Like port 20 and 21 is the file transfer protocol. So if you see those ports open on a machine, it has a file transfer protocol server. Port 22, it's secure shell, so somebody's has an SSH server running on that port on that machine. 53 is domain name system. 80 is hypertext transfer protocol. 123 is network time protocol, 443 HTTP secure, and 3389 is a remote desktop protocol. That one's kind of cool because, you know, if you see, if you run an Nmap scan and you're wanting to exploit a vulnerability and you saw port 3389 open, you know that's remote desktop, and you know, maybe you could determine what service is, what version is running, and then exploit that version. And now is a good time to say you should not be running these scans on a network you do not own. I want to say it's illegal to run any of these Nmap scans on networks you don't own. So don't go firing off a scan to Google or anyone unless it's on your own network or you already have permission to do so. Like if you're in a remote location and you wanted to scan your own home network from that remote location to scan it from the outside, then that would be okay. But don't go sending these scans anywhere and everywhere without permission. Nmap options. So the options are switches. So it's just different things you can do with the nmap command. The nmap command itself is going to run a scan, and these switches that you can add to that scan to the command are going to change the scan in various ways. Let's look at a couple of them. This isn't nearly all the switches either that Nmap has. It lets you really customize your scan a lot. So this -SN is a ping scan that disables port scanning. -P and a port range. You can scan specific scans all ports. -F fast mode. -V increase the verb. -SV is one we're really concerned with because that determines the service version, and knowing the service version is how you can further find the exploit. -O is the operating system detection, and -A, we like -A. -A encompasses -O and -SV and a couple others. So -A is enabling operating system detection, version detection, script scanning, and trace route. So -A is a good switch to use within Nmap. Okay, and here's kind of like the good part. Using Nmap for vulnerability scanning. So Nmap is now integrated with the vulner script for vulnerability scanning. I believe previous versions it didn't come pre-installed with the vulner script, so you had to actually go and download the script and put it in the correct folder, and etc., etc. Now when you download Nmap, it already comes with the vulner script, so you're good to go. Scan the host using -SV, and then the vulner script compares each service version to a known CVE database. So the command we'll be using is nmap -SV --script. This just says, hey Nmap, we want you to load a script and use this vulners. It's going to be using the vulners script to compare each service version to CVE database. So there's a CVE database that it's going to be comparing the service versions to bring back to you to let you know if there's a CVE. CVE being critical vulnerability exposure. So this is just a list of vulnerabilities is what it's going to go and query and bring back the result to you. These X's just represent an IP address that you're going to type in. And it also rates each CVE in severity from 1 to 10. So generally when you want to run a scan, you'd want to look for the high researching first if you're looking to exploit a system. Provides a link to research more on the vulnerability. Send you a link that you can go explore, and it'll actually tell you everything about the CVE, and from there you can go and look further into the vulnerability. Have already been made to exploit that vulnerability, and a hacker could take advantage of those tools and this paves the way for exploiting target systems. It's really like one of the first steps, besides doing something like looking through a dumpster or doing really passive stuff like web searches, like Google searches, to find out about a victim or a hacker's victim or something they on them, and things like that. But the real first touch would be kind of like Nmap, an Nmap scan, touching their network to actually go out and see what they have, not just passively but actively. Yeah. Zenmap. So Zenmap is just the GUI that actually comes with the Nmap installation. I'll show you guys. Nmap is a command line tool, and that's what we're going to be using today. But if you do the install, then I'll show you guys. It does come with Zenmap, and Zenmap is really cool. It's the GUI version, so you don't have to play with the command line if you don't want to. It lets you select a command from this little drop down, input your target, and then it actually writes out the command for you. So everything that you would type in the command prompt, it types it out for you as long as you select the scan you want. And it also kind of partitions all the data here. You can see the ports host data here, the Nmap output itself, and the host details and the scan details. So it kind of arranges the data kind of nice and neat for you a little bit. So that is nice to use. Okay, Nessus, I just wanted to touch on real quick. If you guys already have Nmap and are either proficient with it or know about it and just aren't super interested in it, or it's kind of boring for you now, or even if you haven't, I still suggest looking at a Nessus. It's made by Tenable. Nessus is a vulnerability scanner. It costs $2,790 per year to purchase. But there's a free version available to download and test that is limited to 16 IP addresses. So for like me and my home network, that's fine. I don't have, I'm not in like a large home with devices everywhere. So it lets you scan 16 IP addresses at home for free if you go download it. And it provides an extensive list of possible CVEs and other important data pertaining to every device on your home network. So this scans every device on your home network, and if you can see this image here, I hope, on the left here, these are all IP addresses. Each one of these represents a device on the network. To the right of it, everything you see in blue is like information about the device, not necessarily bad. All of the other colors on these bars, see how this one's like got some yellow, it's got some orange, it's got some red. Those all represent some sort of vulnerability in that device. And you can click on it and explore further, and it just has it mapped out really nice and beautiful for you. And you can check out each one of these vulnerabilities on the devices and work to fixing them. And I've used it. I found a couple vulnerabilities on my devices in my home network and repaired them or gotten rid of them after doing these scans, and kind of helped to secure my network. So Nessus is really cool. We're not going to do anything with Nessus, but just want to let you know it's really cool. Okay, if anybody has any questions, I'll try to get to you. There's a quite a bit of latency here, so I don't know if you can just kind of ask as you wish. All right, and then we are going to do a little bit of a demonstration here. I just want to really show you guys where to get Nmap and how to do like one of the most basic scans. Okay. And from there, you guys can really go out and do a lot of cool stuff. Okay, I'm going to bring up a browser. I'm going to do a Google search for Nmap. Nmap. Go to the first one, which is just nmap.org, or you can just type in nmap.org if you wish. On the left, you see a download link. Click that. And the reason I'm showing you this is because it's lit up with hyperlinks everywhere. Oh God, what have I downloaded? And it's this one right here. That's what you're looking for. The Nmap 7.91 setup.exe. There we go. Latest stable release self-installer. So you're going to click that link. This is Windows, by the way. So if you're on something else, you got to do something else. One of these down here. All right. But on Windows, you're going to download that, and it will self-install, and just walk through the defaults, and it'll get you where you need to be. And after the download, you should be able to search for Zenmap on your system. And here's Zenmap. This is the GUI that I showed you guys earlier. And you can see here, these are all the different scans you can do. And when I click on a different scan, it changes this field right here. These are the commands that you would type in if you were on the command prompt. But it puts them in there for you. So that's kind of cool. If you're just starting out, you don't want to have to research all the switches and commands and stuff. All right, so let's do a couple of these commands and see what we can do. I'm going to open up my command prompt here. And just to see what happens, let's type in Nmap. I've already downloaded and installed Nmap, obviously. So you won't get all this if you type in Nmap and you haven't done so yet. And you can see my Nmap command here, and all this stuff is a reference to the switches and just all the cool things you can do with Nmap. So yeah, if you ever forget what switch you want to use, just type in Nmap. Even gives you some examples of different types of scans you can do. Yep. All right. So, and what we're gonna try, we're gonna try it on this server right here, scanme.nmap.org. And what that is that's just a server that Nmap has set up to be able to test Nmap. So that's what we're gonna do. Otherwise, you can do it on any device within your network, if you know their IP address, or you can do it to any website or anything. I don't do it, but you can do the scan to any website or any IP address out on the internet. Don't do that because I said you do not scan a network you do not have permission to scan. Hang on, I'm getting some questions here. Let's see. He says, is there any way to detect an Nmap scan? Also, do you need a Wi-Fi adapter with monitor mode? You do not need any special hardware. And you do not need a Wi-Fi adapter with monitor mode. You do not. And there are ways to detect Nmap scans. It's a loud and noisy scan. So yeah, Origami Hawk looks like he hit that nail on the head. So yeah. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so this scan, I'm gonna do an Nmap scan on scanme.nmap.org. And don't forget, this is just a remote server Nmap has set up to allow for testing of their product. And that's why I say again, you can't go scanning anything you want. This specifically is set up for this purpose, though. So let's Hit enter. All right, looks like we got a lot of cool information here. This field right here. So you can see our command right above it, right here, nmap, scanme.nmap.org. And I think the first lesson, networking lesson you can learn is this, the fact that we typed in this website address and it popped out with this IP address. This website address is just an alias for this IP address. So this has got to reach this is on a server somewhere with this IP address associated with it. So I can also, instead of scanme.nmap.org, I can use this IP address. There. Hit enter. And you can see it's the exact same results because it went to the exact same place. Yeah. So when you do this on your own internal network and you're like, what's the website to my smart TV? Well, you're just going to use its IP address. Okay. So just to explain that little subtlety there. And so let's look at the actual information. We can see that it's found that port 22 is open, and like we said before, port 22, yep, SSH, and the state is open. It found port 80 open, HTTP. All these filtered ports, if I'm not mistaken, somebody feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, is filtered means it could not determine if it was open or closed, if I'm not mistaken. A couple more open ports here. We have 9929. I don't know what either of those are, personally. But yeah, SSH and HTTP. So they have an SSH server and an HTTP server. So they're offering up some web data. So for the next scan, let's see what else we can find out. So I'm gonna go to the same place, scanme.org. Let's see if we can add some switches. That -O switch was kind of cool. See if we can see what operating system they're using. -O was operating system. And let's see. Oh, got another question in. Those slides you posted earlier be available somewhere after this demo. I can make them available to you on Discord. I can do that. Sure. All right. Just reach out to us on Discord, and I can send you a copy if you'd like a copy. Or I can make them available if, others also want them. But
yeah, we can post the link.
Cool. All right, sounds good, Robert. Let's see. Okay, so with this Nmap-O scan, it's all the same stuff that we had before. We can see these open ports. Now it has a lot of data on this operating system. You can see it's probably running Linux, or it's running Linux, and it kind of gives estimates on the versions here that it's running. So cool, running Linux. All right, next switch. Let's try -O and -SV. -SV, remember, was service version, and this is a really important one because this is how we find how the vulnerabilities are found. Or it's what's used to find them. Give that a few seconds. All right, so increasingly more information. Here's where it starts. You can see we have all the old stuff. And we also have the version. So now we know that the SSH server that we were looking at earlier is using OpenSSH 6.2.1p1. And that the HTTP server is using Apache and HTTPD 2.4.7. So really cool. Got the versions. All right, well, what can I do with that? All right, so now this is what kind of the whole talk has been leading up to, is now we found all this good information. What can be done with that information? Well, you use it to go find a vulnerability. And how we do that is we use -sv because we need the service version. Remember, that's what it uses to look up and find these vulnerabilities. It uses the service versions. And now we have to say, Nmap, you're going to use a script. And I want that script to equal the vulner script. We're going to send that over the network. I don't know if any of you can tell, but I've been like freezing. So you see me shivering. It's absolutely freezing, and I definitely should have put on a jacket before I started this, or turn up the heater. It is insanely cold here. All right, so wow, this is a lot of stuff. What does it all mean? Looks like nonsense, but it's not, mostly. Okay, so here's the start of it. This is our command. And so like we had before, we have port 22 and port 80 open. So these are the, like we saw up here, port 22 and port 80. Here they are right here. But below them now is all this vulners information. It says vulners, boom, all this stuff. These are the CVEs associated with the versions that have been detected. So this is detected one CVE right here, CVE 2015-5600, and it's rated. Remember, there's a 1 to 10 rating as to how severe these vulnerabilities are. This one is an 8.5. Likely we have a 6.9 and a 5.0, 4.3, and we go to the port 80 HTTP server, and we see that we have a CVE right here of a rating of 7.5. So obviously you'd want to work from top to bottom while exploring these CVEs. And it gives you a nice little link here that you can copy. And type into your search bar. And further explore this vulnerability. See how severe it is. You see if tools have been made for it, and if this is something on your own system. If I was running this on my system and I detected this vulnerability, I want to know everything about it, and see if it's used, see if there's tools made for it, and all that, just to see how vulnerable my system is, and do everything to repair it. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So if anyone has any more questions, feel free to let us know either in the YouTube chat or anywhere on Discord. And yeah, thanks for watching.